invite your attention towards the ribbon cutting ceremony, which is happening in the exhibition area. Requesting everyone to kindly be seated as we would like to get started with the inaugural session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have all the dignitaries already here on the dais, and to get started officially, I would like to request everybody, first of all, to kindly give a big round of applause to dignitaries and yourself as well. My name is Ratuja Kohale, and it's my absolute honor to be your host for the next 2 days of this incredible gathering of visionaries, innovators, and leaders of agro-input industry. And on behalf of the Agro-Input Manufacturers Association of India, which is briefly known as AIM, I extend a heartfelt welcome to each one of you present here to this AIM B2B Conclave 2025 right here at the beautiful Westin Pune. And before we start, to give you a quick insight, the Agro-Input Manufacturers Association has been a driving force in transforming India's agricultural future. For over a decade now, more than a decade, AIM has been uniting manufacturers, researchers, policymakers, and of course, innovators, all with a shared mission of empowering our agricultural ecosystem through innovation, sustainability, and of course, collaboration. And this conclave is a celebration of that very vision. Over the next 2 days, we will witness thought-provoking sessions. We will connect with our industry people, pioneers, and we'll explore revolutionary solutions that are going to reshape the agro-input space. Whether you are here to speak new business opportunities, maybe you are here to discover the latest agri-tech, or simply gain some valuable knowledge and insight, this platform promises a remarkable journey for everybody present here. So once again, welcome aboard, and let's set the tone high, and together, let's shape the future of agro-input industry and agriculture. With this, we would like to get started with the inaugural session, but before that, we would like to pay tribute to our nation with the national anthem. For that, I would like to request everybody to please rise at your seats. Thank you so much. Please be seated. And as we all know, we are Indians, we are in India, and we believe in our traditions and our culture so strongly that it's a land where every auspicious beginning starts with the lamp lighting ceremony, which is a symbol of knowledge, wisdom, and of course, the removal of darkness. So as we are embarking on this meaningful journey of our conclave, we should start our gathering with a lamp lighting ceremony. For that, I would like to request all our esteemed dignitaries on the stage to kindly join us for the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. Requesting, starting from Dr. Kaushik Banerji, Director, NRC, Maharashtra, Dr. Harihar Kausadikar, Professor of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, VNMKV, Parbhani, Dr. Prajib Chakraborty, former member of Department of Plant Sciences, ASRB, and former ADG, Plant Protection and Biosafety, ICAR, New Delhi. Also, we have Dr. A.K. Saxena, Advisor, CBC, and former Director, ICAR-NBAIM, New Delhi. Also, our office bearers of AIM, Shri Rajkumar Durgode Patil, President, AIM Association, and Shri Samir Pathare, Secretary, AIM Association. All right, requesting our dignitaries to kindly be seated. And at AIM, it is our utmost honor and privilege to extend a heartfelt welcome to all the stalwarts of the industry and all the experts who have joined us today. And to mark this gratitude and appreciation, we would like to felicitate our guest of honor. And for that, I would request, starting with our guest of honor, Dr. Kaushik Banerji, Director, NRC, Maharashtra. And to felicitate him, I would like to request Shri Rajkumar Durgode Patil, sir, President of AIM Association, to please do the honor. Can we all please put your hands together as we felicitate Dr. Kaushik Banerji. Thank you. Moving ahead, we now felicitate Dr. Harihar Kausadikar, Professor of Soil Sciences and Agricultural Chemistry, VNMKV, Parbhani. And for that, may I invite Mr. Pradip Kothawade, Vice President of AIM Association, to please do the honor.
आपण पुण्यात आहोत, टाळ्या जरा जोरातच झाल्या पाहिजेत.
Our next felicitation is for Dr. P.K. Chakraborty, former member of Plant Sciences Department, ASRB, and former ADG of Plant Protection and Biosafety, ICAR, New Delhi. And to felicitate him, may I invite Mr. Vaibhav Kashikar, Vice Secretary of AIM Association. Please give them a big round of applause as we felicitate Dr. P.K. Chakraborty. And now finally, last but not the least, we are honored to felicitate Dr. A.K. Saxena, Advisor CBC and former Director ICAR-NBAIM, New Delhi. I would like to invite Mr. Sarjirao Shisode, Treasurer of AIM Association, to please do the honor. Thank you so much, and thanks to all our office bearers for this warm felicitation and joining us here. Before we move ahead and hear from our guest of honors, it's my privilege to invite someone who has been a driving force behind the execution of this conclave, and he has played a pivotal role in the AIM Association and has been instrumental in organizing this particular B2B conclave. May I please invite on stage Mr. Samir Pathare, Secretary of AIM Association, to formally deliver a welcome address for all of you. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. A very warm welcome to all of you to this Agro Inputs Manufacturers Association B2B Conclave 2025. The future of biostimulants, science, sustainability, and strategy. We are very privileged and honored to welcome our guest of honor, Kaushik Banerji, Director NRC Grapes, Professor Harihar Kausadikar, Dr. PK Chakraborty, and Dr. AK Saxena. So welcome again, and thank you, sirs, for your gracious presence in spite of your ever busy schedule. It is an absolute honor to stand before this distinguished gathering of entrepreneurs, researchers, policymakers, and agri-tech professionals who are shaping the future of not only Indian agriculture, but the global agriculture. As the Honorary Secretary of AIM Association, it gives me immense pleasure and pride to host such a platform for our members and industry that is going to be the most premier B2B networking and knowledge sharing event in the country and for the agriculture industry. Today, we embark this insightful journey to explore the future of biostimulants, that science, sustainability, and agriculture. So the community, but for the manufacturer's point of view, it has opened up a very large avenue, I can say, when we talk about the biostimulants. So before we move ahead, I would like to appraise you about AIM Association. So let me introduce AIM Association to you. Agro Inputs Manufacturers Association of India, AIM, is a registered association of agro MSMEs and SMEs manufacturing biostimulants and micronutrients. We are having more than 400 members across India, and this came into existence in 2010 for policy advocacy with government, especially in the field of biostimulants, also for knowledge sharing and skill training for staff and stakeholders. Of course, for the fellowship amongst the members. The most fitting introduction of AIM, I can say, is by describing it as the only proactive manufacturers association in India, having equipped with all the necessary data required for the permanent registration of biostimulants in the Schedule 6 of FCO 1985. AIM proudly possesses pooled data of 8 common biostimulants, which has been submitted for the scrutiny before the Central Biostimulant Committee for permanent registration. As we all aware that the biostimulants are now in the purview of Fertilizer Control Order 1985 with the insertion of new section, that is section 6. AIM had wholeheartedly welcomed this move by Government of India, and is the draft that has come, and it has been immense pride for all of us that India is the first country who has drafted such a clear guidelines for the biostimulants. Thanks to Dr. PK Chakraborty, who initially drafted these guidelines, and thanks to Dr. AK Saxena, who is now guiding the CBC at present. So our members will be all ears to you enlightening the thoughts on the topic of present scenario of biostimulants registration in India, which is soon after this inaugural session. This move will not only ensure supply of quality, but also more importantly, the environment safely and the human safely biostimulants to the farming community. So that is one of the greatest gift we can say about these guidelines, that we are going to get the inputs which are really safe for the environment and the humans. And another thing is, like the farmers are getting these inputs like very safe and very quality inputs. About manufacturer's point of view, it has been awarded the most coveted registered agri input status to the biostimulants in India, and which has thrown open the world's growing biostimulant market within their reach. And I can say that this will again increase the exports of biostimulants from this country. So the theme, future of biostimulants, science, sustainability, and strategy holds a very paramount importance in today's world, which is at a critical juncture, I can say, facing food security for the challenges of having more population in the country. Climate changes issues are there, and also ever need of sustainable farming practices. So biostimulant is a tool, it's a right tool, which once emerged as a innovation, and later it has become the integral component of the balanced nutrition management. Now, here the three S, science, sustainability, and strategy, come strongly into the picture. Why science? Because the advanced research in microbiology, in physiology, plant physiology, and also the biostimulant formulation, the novel formulations that can enhance the efficacy of the field. Sustainability for reducing the chemical dependency and moving on to the plant, improving soil health, plant health, using eco-friendly, residue-free, and regenerative agricultural products or agricultural practices. And strategy for strengthening regulation, market reach, global competitiveness, along with building farmers' awareness and farmer confidence that the biostimulant usage is really beneficial for them. So with science, sustainability, and strategy, let us not forget partnerships, because they are very important. Collaborations are very important, and that's exactly for what we are all gathered here today. The industry growth will be propelled only through the collaborations between policymakers, industrialists, manufacturers, agribusiness leaders, and of course farmers. With these three S, let us again add another S to it, that is the smart farming, with the help of high-tech agricultural practices such as precision agriculture, use of AI, artificial intelligence, and of course machine learning, use of drones, satellite mapping, IoT. So that is going to be the future of agriculture. We do have an interesting panel discussion and innovative pitches later in AIM B2B Conclave. So we at Governing Council of AIM, we just don't want this to be just a conclave, just an event, but we would like to project this as a think tank, as a business accelerator and knowledge sharing platform, because during the course of these 2 days, we are engaging in a deep discussions on the latest regulatory reforms, emerging innovations, and strategic partnerships to expand India's footprint in the global market. Once again, I thank you for being a part of this journey. Your presence here reflects the commitment we all share in the revolution of agriculture for the better. Let's make this conclave a milestone that paves the way for a more scientific, sustainable, and strategic approach to biostimulants. Once again, I thank the distinguished guests for their esteemed presence and the august audience for hearing me patiently. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone for this conclave and for giving this meaningful start for this day. Now it's time to hear from the esteemed dignitaries and the thought leaders who have joined us today for this occasion, our guest of honor. And to begin with, may I please invite Dr. Kaushik Banerji, Director, ICAR, National Research Center for Grapes, Pune, to please share his thoughts with us. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Dr. Chakraborty, my esteemed teacher, Dr. Saxena, the other dignitaries sitting on the dais and off the dais. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really thankful to the organizers for this invitation, because biostimulant is such an important subject that everyone is talking about. And being the director of an institute where pesticide residue is the major issue, grapes means some or other problem related to pesticide residues. And under this situation, we are trying our best to promote bio-intensive agriculture. And bio-intensive agriculture has a very pivotal role that biostimulants can play. So I really appreciate the efforts of this Agro-Input Manufacturers Association to bring all-round improvement and unity among the manufacturers of various agro-inputs. Plant growth promoter, herbal and organic product manufacturers, herbal pesticide manufacturers, and micronutrient manufacturers to contribute to the best of their abilities in an integrated manner. So it's basically a comprehensive way of growth that we are targeting here. Now, looking at the current global food safety scenario, we are recognizing the pivotal role that biostimulant can play in managing plant health, abiotic stresses such as drought, salinity, and temperature extremes, promoting crop growth, improving nutrient uptake, and of course, enhancing the ability to fight against insect pests, diseases, and physiological disorders. So in case we can reduce some sprays, some applications of agrochemicals, chemical pesticides, by replacing those with biostimulants, that itself is a big advantage for the farmers. As per the recent focus of Government of India, whereby natural and organic farming are being actively advocated, biologicals in the form of biostimulants represent an eco-friendly technology with attributes for stress alleviation and boosting plant growth. However, we all know that biostimulant technology is still at a nascent stage in India. It is evolving with new opportunities, and so accordingly, its regulations must also be in tandem to enable its successful implementation. Now, I would like to let you know that at NRC Grapes, we did some experiments on quality evaluation of biostimulants. What happens that regarding the quality of biostimulant formulations, one major apprehension of farmers relates to natural or deliberate contamination of pesticides. Sometimes it happens that people have not applied any pesticide, they applied biostimulant or maybe seaweed extract or plant extract or whatever this type of materials, and they end up into detection of pesticide residues. So that's a big apprehension in the grower community. So at NRCG, we conducted a study to develop an analytical methodology for quality evaluation of biostimulants. The method not only successfully accommodated a broad spectrum of multi-class compounds, but also aligned with stringent regulations of analytical quality control. So based on our experience, we proposed a limit of quantification of 5 milligram per kg, that means 5 ppm, to represent the diverse pesticide biostimulant combination. You know that biostimulants are very complex matrices, and under this situation, to analyze biostimulant for quality, especially to test pesticide residues, it is a big challenge. There are lots of components in the matrix of these biostimulant formulations which suppresses the signals of the pesticides. So under this situation, proper analysis with accuracy and precision requires minimum 5 ppm level of limit of quantification. This was mainly done under the advice of Dr. P.K. Chakraborty, and we have recently communicated it for publication also. The study highlighted several advantages of the method, which includes simplicity, wherein the workflow is straightforward and user-friendly, versatility, as it revealed wide-ranging applications across various pesticide classes, and accuracy and repeatability, as it consistently delivered reliable and precise results. The outcome of the study could be used as guidance for determining appropriate limit of quantification values for biostimulants, which could be an aid in trade while ensuring consumer food safety in the country and also worldwide. So with this, I stop here, and I wish the conclave every success. It's a very important conclave, and highly appreciate the kind of concept and the August gathering. Please do your best in discussing all the issues and come out with some solid conclusions and recommendations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and your wishes to this conclave. I now welcome Dr. Harihar Kausadikar, Professor of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, VNMKV, Parbhani, to please address the audience. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all. Good morning to all. Thank you. So, a warm welcome to Agro Input Manufacturers Association and all family members, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Dr. A.K. Saxena sir, respected Saxena sir, respected Chakraborty sir, Dr. Kaushik Banerji sir, our President, Dr. Rajkumar Durgade Patil sir, Secretary Shri Samir sir, all you family members. I welcome you all for this event where we will have the knowledge sharing. So first, this is organized regarding the biostimulants mostly or sustainability. But when we consider agriculture as a business, the most important 5 factors are there which are to be taken into consideration while doing agriculture business or manufacturing agriculture inputs. So first of all, this is the basic, that is, we call it as an asset for our agriculture business, that is soil. Mostly while doing these inputs, we are neglecting still the soil. All over world, the awareness is created regarding soil health. Mostly if soil is healthy one, definitely we will get the healthy production. Our aim is to have the sustainable production at farmers level along with the reduction in the production cost of the farmers. These are our 2 basic aims. But while dealing with these aims, the soil, which is a neglected one, but most important one, it is to be taken into consideration. Presently, soils are not healthy because we are facing the deficiencies of the several nutrients, or 4 to 6 nutrients in the soils. All over the nation, we have identified that nitrogen is deficient, phosphorus is deficient, similarly the sulfur is also deficient regarding primary and secondary nutrients. When we consider the micronutrients, the iron deficiency, zinc deficiency and boron deficiency, these are common for soils. And we are fighting with this deficiency with several products. Mostly we are giving the products of these nutrients, but still we are not getting the response because balance is most important. Balanced plan nutrition is most important. When we consider the nutrient or nutrition, it should be smart one. That means all the essential nutrients, 17 nutrients, we are not giving the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, but biostimulants are there which can provide the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. We are dealing with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur and micronutrients. But nobody is taking care of this carbon, hydrogen, oxygen because we are getting this naturally from the soils or from the atmosphere. But when we consider these biostimulants, definitely the carbon, hydrogen or oxygen can be supplied through these biostimulants. Or you can have one word that biostimulants are working as ghee. You are knowing value addition of the milk. Milk is there, from milk we are having the curd, from curd we are having the butter and from butter we are having the ghee. So whatever extract is there from organic sources or for microbial productions or organic substances, that extracts can be used as a biostimulants. Because when we consider anything, we supplies out of these 17, anything can be used as a fertilizer material or as a stimulant for the growth and development of the plants. But while manufacturing these, the second important factor, that is water, it is also to be taken into consideration because mostly the fertilizers or agri inputs are utilized for fertigation, for foliar application, for drenching, for seed treatment as well as soil application. Now if these are the things, all these nutrients can be taken up through soil or from plant through water only. If water quality is not better one, your products will not give the response. And this factor is also most important because nowadays we are facing the problem of water contamination or saline water or alkaline water there. Third, the most important, that is the climate. Regarding climate, everybody is knowing that climate change word is there. And if climate change is there, definitely the stress is created on the plants. Maybe abiotic stress, maybe biotic stress. If these both stress are there, the plants will not survive properly, where we are trying that biostimulants will work. That means through provision of this multi-nutrient or multi-mineral, multivitamin product, these plants can survive in better way in adverse condition, that is the biotic or abiotic stress. Now fourth important factor, that is the seedling or seed or planting material. Several types of the farming systems are there. You are having that names of the farming systems. Farmers are mostly confused with this farming system, that is the natural farming, organic farming, integrated farming, chemical farming, traditional farming, paramparagat farming, several farming systems. But all these farming system, when we consider as a business, as a whole, as a agriculture, these factors are responsible for consideration. First soil, second water, third that is climate, and fourth plant or seed. Now, all these four are to be managed by the human beings or farmers. This is the most important, where we are having this mechanization, artificial intelligence, or several factors we are using for supplying these or managing these four factors. Here all comes the agriculture business. Now when we consider these five factors and everybody is taking care of everything, then our aim, that is the second, we have to produce more with less cost. Now simply production is not our aim, because food security is okay, but nowadays the word is coming, that is nutritional security. And if nutritional security is to be taken into consideration, the nutrition, that is the smart nutrition, balanced nutrition, or all the nutrients are to be supplied in balanced form to the plant, then and then only you will have the better growth and development. If it is not there, several factors are there, several problems are there, several difficulties are there. And to have the, to overcome these difficulties, the nutrition is the best way. Not for the plants only, but all living beings, even microorganisms present in the soil, they need nutrition. But we are not taking care. When you supply any agri input, definitely these microorganisms are there in the soil and their population is growing. And if population of beneficial microorganism is going, definitely the biochemical reactions, then production of the organic substances, and automatically the biostimulants will be there in the soil. So our aim, that is the productivity is the first aim, that more production from unit area. Second, quality, that is for nutritional security. Third, the sustainability, that means we need this production for a longer period in a sustainable way. Fourth, that is the biotic stress management. Diseases and pests are there, we have to control that one. Friends, if you have read the scientific material, you might have come across that even nutrition can resist the insect pest attack. We have learned in agriculture that is economic threshold level. These pests will not go beyond the economic threshold level if balanced nutrition is there. And several nutrients which are there can be used as insecticides. We are knowing that one. Secondly, all the fungicides, maybe biofungicides, microorganisms, or chemical fungicides, they are containing the nutrients only. And if they are taken as a food material, because food itself acts as a medicine. If we are supplying these nutrients as a food material, by any means, definitely plant will have the tolerance or resistivity for the disease. That means insect pest along with diseases can be controlled with the nutrition. Next comes the abiotic stress management. That means productivity, quality, resistivity, and this abiotic stress management. The abiotic stress management, every plant, every soil, every farmer is experiencing several changes in the climatic conditions in a particular season. In maybe Kharif season, maybe Rabi season, or maybe summer season. We are knowing the cropping patterns, they are different in different regions. But when climate is considered, the temperature and soil moisture, we have not come up to consideration of soil temperature. Itself, soil temperature is performing best in case of root development. But we are not taking care of that one. We are trying several ways, several agri inputs we have developed. That's root system will be developed of the plants. Because root system is most important one when we consider the uptake of the nutrients, uptake of the water. So in climatic conditions where more temperature is there, what should be done? What should be provided so that plant will not suffer the changes in the climate? If more moisture in the water, more moisture in the soil or in the atmosphere, if it is there in the atmosphere, definitely diseases will be there, insect attack will be more. If more water is there in the soil, definitely less uptake of nutrient will be there and plant will suffer from the several deficiencies. So to have the better productivity, to have better sustainability, to have better quality, to have the tolerance or resistivity, all these 5 difficulties can be overcome by the way of smart nutrition or balanced plant nutrition. And this is the only way, friends. Several inputs are there, but nutrition is the only way by which we can achieve the proper growth and development of the plants and our aim of the productivity. And we should look according to these 5 factors which are responsible for agriculture business and our aims that are to be overcome or that are to be fulfilled or satisfied with our products. We should develop our products in such a way that this will overcome the difficulties. Lastly, I will quote one example. Some of the beneficial nutrients, these are also there. We have not identified or we have not analyzed from our products. But if beneficial nutrients are taken into consideration, like silicon is there, the cobalt is there, aluminum is there, vanadium is there, selenium is there. If they are there for particular crop or kind of crop, definitely we are getting the better response from whatever agri inputs you have used. Maybe different kinds of the crops, different kinds of the soils are there or in different climatic conditions. But to have very minor part per billion, not million. These are required in part per billion, but they will function in such a way that as they will act as a magic or magical treatment will be given to the plants for growth and development. So to have, while manufacturing these products, some things which are needed for the plants or different kinds of the crop, we have to consider that one. Altogether, all the products will not serve the purpose for all type of the plants. According to kind of the crops, we have to develop the products. Then we will get the more response and popularization of the product or the importance of the product or awareness in the farmers will be created. This is the only way of plant nutrition or smart nutrition because farmers are knowing everything. They are adopting different type of methods for applying these nutrients. Several sources are used. We are knowing that. Soil itself, it acts as a fertilizer material. Because in soil, if you will take 1 gram of soil, microorganisms are there, nutrients are there. If you will incubate that soil and you will take extract of the soil and that can be used as a biostimulant or a nutrition or fertilizer material. We are knowing, we have experienced that in the field also and farmers are doing that one. So exact recommendation, exact need of the crop is to be considered while developing the product. So this is, I think this is sufficient for all you manufacturers. I'm very much happy that you have invited me and I'm part of this knowledge sharing event. So I'm thankful to the organizer as well as all you for listening patiently. Thank you all and I wish best of luck for this conclave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. And moving ahead, now I request Dr. P.K. Chakraborty, former member of Department of Plant Sciences, ASRB, and former ADG, Plant Protection and Biosafety, ICAR, New Delhi, to kindly share his thoughts. Requesting sir to please join us on the dais.
Dignitaries on the dais, my friends, scientists, and AIM manufacturers, and many other. Dr. Saxena, who is my colleague in the ICR and a member in CBC, and president of this Agro-Input Manufacturers Association, Mr. Rajkumar Durgude ji, Samir ji, secretary of this AIM association, other friends, Dr. Behbab Kashikar, and all my very dear friends, because what I feel is biostimulant came into the practice. It is very fortunate for the country like India because I had the opportunity to attend many of these biostimulant meetings. Some of them are with, there was one international meeting which I happened to attend in UBKV, West Bengal, and it was in collaboration with Germany, a program in Germany on biostimulants. And I got the opportunity to learn many things from them. recently we attended a meeting in IPS, Indian Phytopathological Society meeting, and where some workers in Canada, scientists from Canada had come, scientists from United States had come, and they made their presentation in a very big way. And that also helped me in getting many of the clarifications which are being faced by our country, our manufacturers. And in fact, the initiation of biostimulants or the biostimulants are one of the or biologicals which has been coined a new term to differentiate between biopesticides or biofertilizers. This is a very beautiful way it has come out now. Now we have a clear understanding. Of course, certain policies are yet to be harmonized for use of biostimulant. I also had been very, I can say, fortunate that this biostimulant or recognition of biostimulants came under the behest of or under the aegis of Planning Commission, when one of a director from, some joint director from Rajasthan, he came and he made a big revelation that there is a huge market for biologicals or some kind of spurious biologicals are being promoted in Rajasthan alone. And the amount of spurious pesticides or biologicals they have told was about 650 crores only in one of the states. So if one of the states can have this kind of, I think 450 crores, I'm sorry, worth of market is going on. So what are they doing? They were doing, or they were, some of the spurious manufacturers, they were trying to hush up the thing. They are fly-by-night operators. They will be coming, mixing some biologicals so that on trial we can, anybody, if it intercepts, it will find some biologicals in them. But most of them, they had pesticides. So that came into, then it came to the notice of PMO, and ultimately they said that biostimulant or biological market till far is going unregulated. So we need to now regulate them. So when it is unregulated, that system was also good for some of the manufacturers, but who are not very ethical manufacturers. But many of the, most of the manufacturers like you, they found that it is a very good and they thing which government has realized, and they wanted to make regulations, and enabling regulations, and that was also told by many of the ministers at that time, Minister of Agriculture and Minister of State, Mr. Rupala and all at that time, when I was in the ICR. They said that it's a farmer's technology. There is nothing very rocket science kind of thing in this, like in case of chemical pesticide. So we should not make such a stringent thing that those ethical manufacturers, they should not find it very difficult for after it gets into regulation. So right from then we had 9 meetings, and Planning Commission made the DG ICR, Secretary Dare and DG ICR, they asked this job to be done, and he in turn made me chairman of that committee, and so many members were there. Our Dr. Saxena, many of you might be knowing that he was the director of this NBAIM, National Bureau of Agriculturally Important Microbes at that time. And they also gave lots of inputs. Industries also came and gave a lot of things, and knowledge and learning they infused. And after the end of 9 meetings, we then tried to sit down, where we took Dr. Saxena's and other microbial institutes comments, IRI as well, chemistry department, and physiological department, and all the parameters were noticed and heard, and from the industry there was unfortunately at the time, since biostimulant was not existing, so we could not reach the real stakeholders like you who were venturing at that time with such kind of biologicals which have a biostimulant property and all such kind of properties in them. And most of the industry stakeholders who came were the pesticide industries. They came, and some of the prominent industries, they are also working side by side on biologicals. So in fact, I should have approached, or we should have approached, or we should have found the reference of AIM and all these associations. We were not at that time aware of the things. And then we started making, right from definition we started, and there was none of the other countries had a written law on that, and everybody are in the formative phase. Even in EU, it has been used for a long time, but their regulations are being evolved. It is not totally evolved, yes. USA, Germany, I was very happy when Germans, they asked us what to do under such kind of situations for their biostimulant regulation. And many things I also learned from them. So biostimulants, definitely it's a very important biological functions, and now even scientists are getting a clear differentiation, because there was lots of things, biofertilizers, biopesticides, PGPRs, then IGRs, and then so many other things, and including bio. So now at least with the definition, it has been made clear, one can identify. Say PGPR is a kind of repository. It's a total bank of all the microbes. And out of that, what will go under fertilizer control order and what will go under Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee, which are registering biopesticides and biostimulants. With a lot of discussion, it was temporarily, at that time, it was temporarily put under, because under FCO, the last note also which we had written at that time was biostimulants are a special category of substances which neither have the entire properties which do not match with the biofertilizers, nor it has, or which is irrespective of the nutrition. It is not that by adding biostimulants, we are adding some nutrients. Neither by adding biostimulants, it is not to kill any pest and pathogen. So those two are clear, because those which are sidal properties, which we have kept under Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee as a insecticide act. And those which are having nutritional properties, source of nitrogen, potassium, and all those kind of elements, so they have been put as a fertilizer. But this is not neither a source of nutrition nor a source of pest killing. So in that case, it is put in a very nice way that it is all biochemical basis. It works by manipulating, by by strengthening the innate immunity of the plant, because all plant system has its own resistance mechanism, defense mechanism, and nutritional, and how the nutrition as such when we provide, that is not taken as such. So they are certain enzyme or enzymatic or pathways which are able to make those nutrients into, so they are the biostimulants. They are the intermediators, but not they are the ultimately any component for which we are getting any. So this we add as a, and biostimulants have also those certain enzymes, they have certain elements to stabilize the enzyme, like in case of hemoglobin, similarly in case of chlorophyll. So these are the elements where it is 6 molecules different, they are bound together, held together in case of chlorophyll with magnesium, whereas the same structure is there for hemoglobin in the blood. So where their iron is at the center, which is stabilizing all other moieties there. So this also, when we add biostimulants, that is not increasing any nutrition, but it is going and increasing the efficacy of those enzymes which are causing the nutritional elements to be taken up, or those are inducing the innate defense mechanism which is already existing in the plant. There are so many biological systems like phenylalanine, ammonia lyase system, and all those activities. So these biostimulants, they go to arouse those enzymes which strengthens the internal system of the plants to make it to get an inherent tolerance. Although if you spray them, it may not be killed. Those biostimulants will not be killing. So it is neither not pesticidal, but it is biochemical. So this is a very important technology which, unless the situation had not come in the Rajasthan, so it would not have been happening, because now greater studies are going on towards the biostimulants, their mode of action, their mechanism of action. And now the schedule has only 9 such kind of substances which are, you all must be knowing. Microbes are also there, microbial cell-free culture filtrates are also there. So these are the very good points which has come. But in case, like in case of insecticide schedule, when I joined in the ICR as ADG, there were only 400 chemicals in the schedule, 450 or 60 chemicals. And now it is more than 900, nearly touching 1,000 chemicals which have been brought under the schedule, insecticide schedule, which anybody, if use those 900, any of the molecules after those 900, they have to go and register under CIBRC. Similarly, in case of this biostimulant, CBC and fertilizer control order, when it has been put there, they are now only 9 in number. And I'm sure in days to come it will be going on. It's a dynamic schedule, and one can tell that this is another material of biological nature which can give the plant growth and other kind of properties. So that will be added into the schedule in due course of time. So this schedule will swell in its size with the days to come. There are, however, many hiccups. When we were told to make only not the finer regulations, but what are the major kind of regulations which needs to be there, like biosafety has to be assessed or not assessed. It has to be assessed. So whether the bioefficacy has to be determined, whether it has to be determined at only one place or 3 different places. So it was already in our guidelines, preliminary guidelines which were made initially. We said that it should be following. Initially, some people told that it should be like insecticides, 2 seasons, 3 agroecological. We said no, it's not a harmful thing. So we can have a very simple mechanism of bioefficacy testing, and it may be only 1 year for 3 seasons, in 3 places, 3 agroecological regions. So 1 season only. So they were all very, but what will be the nitty-gritty of under each of these that were left for the subsequent committees to come. So they made that policy in such a way that it started becoming some kind of policing system also has been brought into this system. Because there are lots of ambiguity. Definitely those kind of, when we made, it was very simple because we have not started practicing. But as we started practicing the registration of biostimulant or manufacture and using them in the field, we realized there are so many things, so many challenges which are emerging. And the time has come now, these challenges needs to be removed, because at the back of our mind we all know that they are biosafe molecule. They are supposed to be biosafe molecules, and if there is a biosafety for anything, so anything can be working as a biostimulant also, and we don't bother about. But then there are some kind of things which have started paralyzing this before the baby is born. So those kind of things are being brought in the way of regulations that it is not going further. For last 2021 to now 2024, 4-5, now it has 4 or 5 years after the lapse of this. So we still do not have a clear-cut guideline. Of course, it's a biological systems. That's why many of our experts are working. Because of them only it is going, but in a very slow space, because when they give their comments, it takes days for the CBC to come with the different members from different ministries, interministerial. They come sit together to see whether the regulations are good. So it is still slow at this pace, and many of you might be waiting for your G3s and further permanent guidelines. So one of the full potential of biostimulants can be only achieved through development of some kind of regulations which are easy, which are at least which can take care of the crux of the things, crux of the regulating things which are affecting the biosafety, which are coming in between us and the biosafety. So those things we need to discuss, and in the later when I tell in that some of these issues are taken. One of the issues which we are very close to solving is when Karnataka government it lifted 250 samples of biologicals recently in 21-22. So there was an office order and they intercepted those, and all of them had a cocktail of pesticides in them in the name of biologicals, and as high as even 10 different pesticides in the name of, under the garb of biologicals they had mixed, and some biologicals might have been there which was superimposed with these chemicals. So they found all of them, but some of the very good brands of these biostimulant company, their products were also lifted, and some of them contained those biostimulants only up to 5 ppm or 2 to 3 ppm of pesticide. And then we realized, because nobody will be wanting to tarnish the image of their own company by adding 5 ppm of pesticide, because 5 ppm of pesticide, it can not kill anybody. Even we can take 5 ppm of any fungicide or pesticide. Nobody will add that because it does not give any advantage to him, not to the pest management or some kind of thing. So it will. So how it came? It was realized that most of the biostimulants which were there, they have some kind of seaweed, something like that. And nowadays India has started harvesting these biostimulants in a big way in brackish water, like in southern part of the country or in eastern part of the country. So those water, when they are stagnating, and they have direct contact with the land, mainland, where rice is cultivated, where other crops are cultivated, and where pesticides are used, and there is a seepage in them. So we said, no, at least good companies should not, because the raw material in seaweeds or anything which are used as a raw material for manufacture of biostimulant, they were getting those minuscule amount of residues, and they were being caught, and they were said that they are all duplicate or spurious or something. But those are not. So we need to remove. That's what Dr. Banerji and we got involved in that, and we lifted some very good brands of biostimulants from all over from many of the places, and about 10 biopesticides of a very reputed company. They were then mixed with the known quantity of pesticides, and then assessed and evaluated in GLC or whatever else very advanced instruments they were used, and they found that the matrix of the biopesticides, they are so complex that they would not allow any machine to detect any pesticides from there. So we say why it is there, because in some of them it might not be there, in some it might have been masked with that. So there is known method by which one can detect all those things from the raw material. So we wanted to increase the level from default value 0.01 of residue to 5 ppm. And for that, this experiment was conducted, and it has been sent to Current Science. It's a very reputed journal in the country. And once it is there, now with that kind of our commitment and convergence, we found that government has made 0.01 to 1 ppm, and we are now, as soon as this paper gets published, we will increase up to 5 ppm. This is one of the several, should be, because I has been given that there has to be a proof showing that even if you add this objective of the paper is achieved, then we can consider to use, and definitely Dr. Saxena is a very, is a friend of the farmers, so he will definitely do, and he's a very positive person, and very fortunate we are very good friends in ICR and otherwise also. So full potentials have to be removed. Policy limit of, that is one of the major things, the limit. What should be the limit? Because all these components of biopesticide, many of these components of biopesticide like chitosan, your brassinolioids, and so plant growth regulators, vitamins, all these cytokinins, they are already registered under CIBRC, Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee. So if there is in the schedule, if something comes under the schedule of Insecticide Act or Pesticide Act, it cannot be used for biostimulant. But that is a wrong concept. When it came, there was no knowledge of biostimulants at that time. Nobody knew that the same brassinolioid or same chitosan or same vitamin C or some kind of vitamins and other activities, or other elements, microelements, will also be of use. So now there was a committee which was made in the in the Ministry of Agriculture, and as ADG I was given the charge to scan those insecticide schedule, and identify some of the all the molecules which are existing there, but they find a dual function. And Mr. Rupala, at that time Minister of State for Agriculture, he called me personally and he said, because with this regulation our farmers will be very unhappy, so you just check the schedule and separate them. So we found at least out of 900, I don't know, when I was there at that time, it was 700 something of the Insecticide Act scheduled molecules, and out of that 30 to 40 were having a biostimulant activity also, which had dual function. So I gave that report to Dr. Anupama in the chemistry department of IRI, and she further did it and sent to, but as soon as those ministers, he went out, then it came, the file came under the load. And so now, but this is a real problem. So one of my colleagues, she gave me this data. She said this brassinolioids can be very well tolerated at the highest level of 100 nanogram per gram. So this is the thing. So why not we allow up to 400 with the further research and all. So this limit can be increased, that up to 100 nanogram it can be used as a biostimulant, and beyond which it can go, maybe going to pesticide. Similarly, the level of cytokinin, it is 100 microgram. It's quite a good amount in the plant, which is up to the extent of, and the highest is in the seeds and storage organs. So up to 100 microgram, then per gram we can keep cytokinin or gibberellin, which are there in the safe limit. and then beyond which we can use as a maybe insecticide act or whatever is there. So these are the very good points. Similarly, vitamin, I am surprised to see vitamin C is found in all plants parts at a concentration of 20 millimole. So this is the concentration of vitamin C which is there. So these are also finding place in case of insecticide act. Why they should go in the insecticide act when it is there as a vitamin? So these challenges are there. Micronutrient punching is being done very commonly in Germany, and Germany was also allowing 10% alginate from outside. I was very surprised. It's a synthetic alginate or whatever. But then our country is very strict in that. So whatever is there, so 10% alginate, I asked how much you add. First, do you add? They said, yes, of course we add micronutrients and other things. So I said, then this alginic acid and all, what should be the, they say, in our country, most of the, of course, they are not very experienced this, but up to 10%, she said. So I was very surprised. 10% is a very high amount, but so that was taken with a pinch of salt, of course, at the time. So those kind of policies are there, and many other policies are coming, which are not farmer friendly or this technology friendly. We need to work upon them, and definitely we have started. We have also written a book which is under publication in CRC Press, where we have included chapter on biostimulant, all aspects, different countries, what are the differences, and that will be very good. And then I think this paper is also going to come shortly in Current Science. These are the few things which are there. Of course, with time, it has such a potential, this technology, which is growing at the rate of 15% CAGR. Even pesticide is not growing at that rate. It is chemical pesticides are, I think, about 8% rate. So it is double of that. And this is the time when most of the concerns are being raised by the government when they wanted natural farming or organic farming or conservation agriculture. All these new things are coming, but I think in under organic cultivation and natural cultivation, other than biostimulants will play a very big role, and certainly it is there. It will come in a very big way, and also previously the meeting was going on the cotton, this mission meeting with the Prime Minister day before yesterday, where I also am lucky to have participated. Dr. Ashwin Kashikar was also there for cotton improvement productivity. So that is for 2,500 crores worth of, and Prime Minister was initially chaired that meeting. So there also we said that all these biostimulant problems, and because some of them we could not tell because the time limit, but in the chat box I have written all these challenges which are existing, and which if controlled or which is, so then the potential will be unlocked of this biostimulant. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And moving ahead, it's my pleasure and honor to invite Dr. A.K. Saxena, and he will be giving his speech which has been mentioned in the scientific schedule, and along with this inaugural speech, we'll have his presentation as well. But before that, let me briefly introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. A.K. Saxena. He is the former director of ICAR-NBAIM, which is the National Bureau of Agriculturally Important Microorganisms, and a leading expert in plant microbe interactions. With over 220 research publications, he has pioneered microbial inoculant development and guided 20+ PhD and MSc scholars, and contributed to biostimulant registration guidelines through his advisory roles in the Central Biostimulant Committee. So please give him a big round of applause and welcome him on the dais. Dr. A.K. Saxena.
Very good morning to all of you. First, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this conference. And I'm so delighted to see so many participants. I didn't knew that there are so many members of the association. And yesterday when Samir told me about 400 registrations, I was awestruck. Like, there are so many members in this association who have joined for this conference. As you know that biostimulants, Dr. Chakraborty has already mentioned about the guidelines which have been framed, what was behind the guidelines, and how the guidelines were framed. So all those details, I think Dr. Chakraborty has already given. Before I make my presentation or give a brief about biostimulants, I would just like to mention few things which are very important. First of all, when we prepared these guidelines, initially even the members were not very sure whether to put it under FCO or it should go to CIBRC. But then CIBRC raised hands because they have to make amendment in the insecticide schedule. So looking at the proximity to the fertilizers, it was thought that it should be brought under FCO. Now, it has been brought under FCO. The guidelines are in place. Whatever form it may be half-cooked or it may be half-baked, whatever words you can say. But I would like to say that whenever something new comes up, there are always teething problems. Teething problems for the people who are making the guidelines, for the stakeholders who are manufacturing the products, for everyone, these problems will definitely come. Everything does not evolve immediately. It takes its time. It is only 4 years now from 21 when the first gadget notification came. It is only 4 years old. So give the child a chance to crawl, to stand up, and then only you'll be able to get the benefits out of it. I'm not talking from, first of all, I would like to mention that I'm attending this conference in my personal capacity, not from the ministry side or from, because I'm just a freelancer now. I do not have any control on, or nobody is controlling me. But still, I'm attending this conference in my personal capacity. But looking at the problems in the last 1.5 years since I joined the ministry in the biostimulant cell, I could realize there are many problems with the industry people. They have been coming again and again to the ministry to get the solution to their problems. Sometimes they get the solutions, but most of the time there are no solutions. The reason is the people who have to provide the solutions, they are also on crossroads what type of solution to be offered. So the problem comes when there are no clear-cut solutions to a problem, then this type of problems do arise. That's why I said give some time, maybe a year or two, and maybe these type of problems might get solved, or at least 80% or 90% solution will definitely come up. Because the guidelines which have been developed, they have taken some parts from the biofertilizers or FCO part. Most of the things have come from CIBRC. But if you look at the guidelines and if you look at the infrastructure, you see, personally I feel there was a lack of vision before the gadget notification came up. Lack of vision in the sense, we never thought of what type of infrastructure is required. to deal such a large number of applications. In fact, the people who were sitting at the helm of affairs that time, they also were not aware that how many applicants will be there. Nobody expected 4,000 players in the country for biostimulants, and it was never thought of what type of infrastructure is required. If you go to CIBRC, there are separate cells, toxicity, one particular section is dealing, bioefficacy, another section is dealing, then chemistry part, another section is dealing. But here, there is only one particular cell, and there are hardly any technocrats there. So, that's why I said, when the things are being envisaged, we should have a very clear-cut vision what type of infrastructure is required to handle these type of things. When we are bringing biostimulants under control, we wanted that it should not be an unorganized sector. The quality has to be maintained. But then simultaneously we should have, when we are thinking of checks, we should have thought of balances also. So now the struggle is between both the stakeholders and the policymakers. And this struggle will keep on going on for at least what I envisage, maybe for 2-3 years more, and maybe slightly more than that also. Now, we have certain guidelines available with us, but since I have been in the ministry for long now, almost 1.5 years, I have seen many of the provisional registrations, many of the applications for permanent registrations, and I found still there are lacunae. Whenever the word bio comes now, whether we talk of biofertilizers, we talk of biopesticides, now we are talking of biostimulants. There is always a word attached to it, a stigma attached to it, spurious. And we never talk of spurious word for other things, but whenever anything bio comes up, the word is always attached is spurious. And here also what Rajasthan point Dr. Chakraborty mentioned, or what happened in Punjab also, it was basically the spurious product, unorganized sector, and these type of things they came up. So why do we have this stigma of spurious for all the bioproducts? Just now when we were having, in the morning, I was having discussion with Dr. Harihar also. I said, associations, we have so many associations in Maharashtra also, and big associations. Why can't we have on board of these associations, say a microbiologist or a pathologist or a soil scientist, who can cater to the needs of each and every member of the association? When we make biofertilizers, we are not even sure whether the culture is a rhizobium or an azotobacter. We are still manufacturing and selling. When we are producing biopesticides, we are not able to differentiate between penicillium and trichoderma, but still we are selling it. So where is the fault? We have so many microbiologists, so many plant pathologists in the country. Why can't we take them on board and take their help or their expertise in developing these bioproducts? Try to see that this stigma word, spurious word, should go away from the bioproducts. That is, I think, the responsibility of all the associations, the stakeholders, and this should actually go away. In the country, we have so many microorganisms. Right now, how many microbes we commercialize? 10 in biofertilizers and 36 in biopesticides. That means the total market is only for 46 microbes. And when we say there are millions of microbes in the soil, Millions of PGPRs are there in the soil, but why we are only using 35 or 36? So there are many questions still unanswered. Biostimulant industry has to face problem because of what? Because this is a science which has come out from the industry. This is the science which has not come out from the academic institutions. That is the major problem. When we say this is a biostimulant, what is the mode of action? 9 out of 10 people will not be able to tell what is the mode of action, how it is actually helping the plant. Because we do not have a scientific backup for that. Had there been a scientific backup, I think we would have been in a better position for biostimulants also. But still, I would like to congratulate, and I think all of you should give a big clap for yourself, because this is one industry which you people have raised, which you people have nurtured, and which is not from the academia, which is basically from the industry. This line of work has come up. So now, when we are regularizing it, as I said, it will definitely have problems. So the title today, which I thought of discussing with you, do's and don'ts of biostimulants. And many of you might be aware of whatever I'm going to talk of, but just to sensitize what exactly is required when we are dealing with biostimulants, when we are submitting our applications for biostimulant registration, whether it is for permanent registration or provisional registration. Now, no application for provisional, but only for the permanent registration. Yeah. So, I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts of biostimulants, and this is the definition which FCO gives for biostimulants. I'm showing this definition because this has been so rightly worded. Whenever I'm in a fix in making any decision, I still go back to this definition. Biostimulant means a substance or microorganism or a combination of both whose primary function when applied to plants, seeds or rhizosphere is to stimulate physiological processes in plant. This is a very, very important aspect which stimulate the physiological processes in plant. One should understand that it is not a source of nutrients, but it is acting within the plant, it is stimulating the physiological process, and that's how it is stimulating the plant to grow well. It enhances its nutrient uptake, growth, yield, nutrition efficiency, crop quality, and tolerance to stress, regardless of its nutrient content. What Dr. Chakraborty mentioned about alginate, whether it is having a nutrient or not, regardless of its nutrient content, it is affecting or it is stimulating the physiological process of the plant, but does not include pesticides or plant growth regulators. Now, when we say plant growth regulators, don't go only by the word plant growth regulators. The other words has to be read along with it. Plant growth regulators which are regulated under Insecticide Act. Now, among the plant growth regulators which are regulated under the Insecticide Act are mainly the auxins and the gibberellic acids. Cytokinin, abscisic acid, and ethylene. They are not regulated under Insecticide Act, so they can be still a part of the biostimulant. Now, when we say it should not be a part of pesticide, there are now about 1100. Dr. Chakraborty was mentioning about 1000. About now, the list has gone up to 1100 molecules. So there are 1100 molecules in the pesticides, which includes the biopesticides also. Now, this already has been told that it was initially being sold in the market without any specification and content. And because of the concerns on the quality of these products, it was decided to bring it under FCO to bring the guidelines to control it. So it was initially decided to place biostimulants in FCO because of its proximity to fertilizers. Accordingly, a draft notification proposing amendments in the FCO were prepared to include biostimulants. Now, it was included in the Schedule 6 of the FCO, and the first gadget notification came on 23rd of February 2021. And initially, 8 categories were described, although the definition says it includes substances or microorganisms, but unfortunately, microorganisms were missing when the first notification came, and there were only 8 categories. The 9th category was added only in 2024, and that gadget notification came on 8th of May 2024. So now we have 9 categories under biostimulants: botanical extracts, biochemicals, protein hydrolysates and amino acids, vitamins, cell-free microbials, antioxidants, antitransferants, humic acid, fulvic acid, and live microorganisms, excluding the biofertilizers and the biopesticides. Now, when this notification came, that time also there were large number of products which were in the market. So initially it was decided to give provisional registration to the manufacturers who were manufacturing these products for the last 3 years. That is 3 years before the notification came. And this was just to help the MSMEs so that they feel protected, that they are able to sell the products. So the concept of provisional registration came into being. And initially, 6 months were given the time period, and 2 years from the date of notification was the validity. But later on, these validity of provisional registration kept on changing. From 23rd February, it came to 22nd February 23, then to 24, and finally 22nd February 2025. And now many of you are waiting whether there will be any further extension or not. So keep waiting for some more time. I think something might come up. Now, it is the time for the permanent registration, and since there were about 3,300 applications for provisional registration, the number of applications for permanent registration has reduced considerably. There are about 400 odd applications for the permanent registration. But the rejection rate is still very high. Rejection rate is very high. The reasons are not that the products are not good. The reasons are the way the application has been put, or they have been communicated to the ministry. And that is the reason why I thought to bring certain points to your knowledge, that what should be done or what should not be done, so that when you're submitting your application, you should not have to wait for a longer period of time, because if there are certain missing things or there are gaps, then again we'll be writing to you about the deficiency, and you will be again communicating to us, so that takes time. So there's a G form in which the application has to be submitted. Most of the time, this G form gives only incomplete information. Many of the columns, they are not filled up. There is a column for indigenous or imported, country of origin of the product, whether the efficacy studies have been carried out in the country of origin. Most of the times, the applicants, they fail to give information on this, and this is very much required because it helps in the evaluation of the application. Labellet and leaflet details. Many of the applications, these details are missing. I don't know how many of you are aware that for label also the guidelines were notified, but nobody has followed the guidelines. Nobody has followed the guidelines for the label. So when you're submitting your application for the permanent registration, please submit the labels and the leaflets, because that actually gives an understanding what you want to claim. Because when you're getting your chemistry done from an NABL accredited lab, they give you the exact values what they are getting at that particular time. Suppose I give you an example. You are working on seaweeds and you are given value of alginic acid, say 2% from the chemistry lab. But it may not be 2% every time. It is up to you to decide what you wanted to claim. So label, when you are submitting a label, it actually gives the claim value, what exactly you want to claim, so that whenever the samples are being lifted, it will be checked only on the claim value, not on the value which has been given by the NABL or GLP lab. So that's why these things become important from the point of view, from your benefit. Then the second thing comes is the chemistry. Now, provide the complete name of the source. There is a very specific column for the source. And many a times, the applicants, they fail to provide the source. Even for humic acid, if it is mined, from where it has been mined, you have to provide the source. If you are giving information on protein hydrolysate of what? Whether it is a plant source, whether it is an animal source, whether it is a microbial source, you have to provide those source name. Source name mein, we have to give the genus and the species. Plant ka naam do se aata hai. 2 words. One is the name of the genus, another is the name of the species. Say Adatoda vasica. That becomes the genus and the vasica is the species. So similarly, for all the microbes, we have nomenclature. All plants, we have a nomenclature, scientific name is there. So try to provide the complete information about the source from where you are using the particular product. Even if the products are synthetic, make sure that it is not included in the Insecticide Act. Now for product specification, it has to be got it done from the good laboratory practice, GLP or a NABL accredited lab. And the physical and the chemical properties of the ingredient, active ingredient and other things have to be provided. Now, chemistry of the product to be carried out from the GLP or NABL, this is already written in the guidelines. So this has to be done. Do not select a NABL or GLP lab that does not have the required analysis beyond the scope of work. For any GLP lab or NABL accredited lab, they have a scope of work. Say they have a scope for biofertilizers, but they do not have a scope of work for biostimulant or a particular analysis which you are getting done from them. They should have that particular scope. See also that the certificate of the GLP lab or a NABL accredited lab should be valid at the time when you're getting your analysis done. ऐसा नहीं हो कि validity उसकी GLP lab की 22 की थी and you're getting your analysis done in 23. Then it will not be considered. Now this is again a very important thing which many of you have not submitted, the complete composition of the product. Complete composition means 100%. If you are making a product using a protein hydrolysate, say 10% is your protein hydrolysate, 20% is the adjuvant, 30% is the stabilizer, then rest of the 50% is your carrier material. That makes it 100%. So that complete composition is required. So when you are giving a composition, it has to be 100%. Now, when you are giving the word adjuvant, it has to be chemically defined what adjuvant you are using. If you are using a stabilizer, you have to define the stabilizer. Chemically, it has to be defined. Carrier, simply writing carrier will not help. Whether it is a bentonite, whether it is a talc powder, whether it is water, whatever carrier material you're using, it has to be chemically defined. And when you are using adjuvant or selecting your adjuvant and stabilizers, again look back whether it should not be included in the Insecticide Act. It should not have any insecticidal or fungicidal property. So when you are selecting an adjuvant or a stabilizer, be very careful in selecting. And do not make mixtures with nutrients or micronutrients. That is not considered under biostimulants. Now, chemistry should include analysis of the active ingredients. These are certain things which are very important, which are required when you're submitting your chemistry part. Other important constituents like besides the active ingredient, there can be other constituents also. Suppose you're working on botanicals. In botanicals, you can have any alkaloids, you can have even hormones from the botanicals, you can have terpenes. So there can be n number of constituents in a botanical. So you have to decide what is the active ingredient which is actually stimulating the plant, what are the other important constituents in the product, then the pH value, organic carbon, organic matter, solubility in water, total dissolved solids, specific gravity or bulk density. These are the things which are must, which have to be provided so that if the product is notified and if it comes in the Schedule 6, any manufacturer can go for the manufacture of that particular product, but he can only go for it once you have given 100% composition, once you have defined all the adjuvants, stabilizers into it, and once you have defined all these physico-chemical parameters like organic carbon, organic matter, pH, and specific gravity. So do not miss out on the active ingredient or tracer molecule, and physico-chemical parameters not to be ignored. Now when you're giving under the category seaweeds and botanical extracts, the information which is required is the name of the seaweed which is used, percentage of the seaweed used, and total dissolved solids. Specifically for brown algae, concentration of alginic acid, which is must, but concentration of fucodine, if you can give, it is desirable. If you're working with the red algae, then concentration of carrageenan is required. In case of botanical extract, the name of the plant, genus and species, both are required. Plant part which we are using for extraction is very important, whether you're using the seed part, whether you're using the stem part, the leaves, whatever you're using, you have to define what part of the plant you're using. Method of extraction, what type of extraction you're using, whether it is a cold press, whether it is organic solvents, whatever method you're using, you have to define the method of extraction. Name of the active ingredient. Botanical, I know it is very difficult to pinpoint a particular active ingredient, and the clause 20C also says, right now it says that even if it is not possible to give active ingredient, you should give at least the chemical composition. But active ingredient is very important because that gives an idea that the work has been carried out on the chemistry part and you have actually worked on the mode of action of the botanical. Method of analysis for active ingredient, total dissolved solids, and total organic matter. These are the information which is required for the botanical extract if you're using. Now the second category is the humic and the fulvic acid. Here the information which is required is the source of humic acid and the fulvic acid. Concentration of humic acid in percentage, similarly for fulvic acid. Then whether it is a potash humate or it is a sodium, because right now from China, those who are importing, besides potassium humate, there's a lot of sodium humate also coming in. So you have to define whether it is sodium humate or potassium humate. Sodium humate is not good, I should say, because it will harm the crop, it will harm the soil. Then method of analysis for the active ingredient is required, total organic matter, pH and solubility. All those information is required if you're submitting under the category of humic acid and fulvic acid. Now for biochemicals, this is a broad category. Here it can be sourced from a biological material or it can be synthetic also. So this is a bigger category. If it is a microbial source or plant source or any other animal source, you have to give the name of that source. But if it is synthetic, you have to also describe that you are adding separately in the formulation. Part used for extraction, method of extraction, same as for botanicals, name of active ingredient and method of analysis. So these are the things which are required for biochemicals. Now for protein hydrolysates and amino acids, this particular category requires many things. Now when you're giving protein hydrolysate, define the source, as I said, from where you're using the protein, whether it is an animal source, plant source, or it is a microbial source, that has to be defined. Part of source organism used as the protein source. Suppose if you are using soya flour, you have to define it's a flour, whether it is a defatted soya flour, that also has to be defined. Method of protein hydrolysis, enzymatic hydrolysis, alkali hydrolysis, acid hydrolysis. There can be different types of hydrolysis which are being carried out. So that has to be defined. Then if enzymatic hydrolysis is done, which enzyme is used? If chemical hydrolysis is done, then name of the acid or the alkali which is used. Concentration of the free amino acids or the total amino acid has to be provided. Similarly, for the category of the vitamins, name of the vitamins, source of vitamins, method of extraction, and method of analysis for the active ingredient. Cell-free microbial product, there are not many applications on this, but still we require the source of the microbe, the name of the active ingredient, method of extraction of the active ingredient, method of analysis, and CFU count if there is any in the formulation. Because it is a cell-free microbial, logically there should not be any CFU counts. It should be free from the microbes and contaminants if any. For microbials, we require these information. Live microorganism excluding biofertilizers and biopesticides. Now, the name of the microbe is required in this. Method of enumeration for specifically counting the microbe. Now here, the major problem comes is, we do not provide information how you are going to go for CFU count. Most of the applications which I have received, there are no specific media given so that you can count that particular organism on the plates. General media will not allow all the organisms to be counted. So you have to look into the specific media if possible. I'm not saying that every time it will be possible to define a specific media. But if possible, try to look for a specific media for the microbes which you are using, and that specific media has to be defined as a method of analysis. CFU count of the microbes in the product formulation. It is very important because it will also decide upon the shelf life of the product. Contaminants, if any, and shelf life. These are the attributes which are required for the microbials. Then shelf life, if you are carrying out, see that the product should have a minimum shelf life of 1 to 2 years. In case of microbes, shelf life of 12 months is good enough. Now there are other specifications for heavy metals and for pesticides. These are the 6 heavy metals which have been listed, and their maximum range also is being given. Now the problem mainly comes with arsenic and with zinc. Most of the time arsenic levels in the formulations are more than 10 ppm, which is not desirable. And zinc content, I don't know whether it is being added from outside or it is from within the source which you are using. But in many of the applications, the zinc content is higher than 1000 ppm. Now, pesticide, as Dr. Chakraborty was mentioning, about 5 ppm, but right now the permissible limit is only 1 ppm. So that's what is permissible right now. Now the major problem comes with the bioefficacy trials. And this is the major reason for many of the applications to be rejected. Either the guideline were not very specific, or they were not able to make it clear to the stakeholders. So many of them have made mistakes in carrying out the bioefficacy trials. So what I have done is I have tried to develop some guidelines for the bioefficacy trial, which I thought that everybody should be aware of how the bioefficacy trial should be carried out. First thing which is written in the guidelines also, that it has to be carried out from the National Agricultural Research System, including the Indian Council of Agricultural Research and state agricultural universities. Now trials have to be conducted on same crop. This is very, very important, because many of the stakeholders have made a mistake of using 3 different crops for 3 different agroecological regions. So the trials have to be conducted on the same crop at 3 different agroecological regions for 1 season. It has to be conducted at minimum 3 different doses along with the recommended dose of fertilizers. Whenever you are using biostimulant, it has to be always with the recommended dose of fertilizer, so that your recommended dose of fertilizer becomes the control. Any enhancement over the control is basically the effect of the biostimulant. So the treatment used should be uniform for all locations. Whatever treatments you are using at one location, same treatment has to be repeated at the other 2 locations also, so that the results becomes comparable. It has to be clearly mentioned about the number of applications of biostimulants, and also whether it is a foliar spray or soil application. It should also provide information at what stage of plant growth the spray has been done. Now sometimes we have to give spray at the tillering stage, sometimes at the flowering stage, sometimes at the stage when the spikelets are being formed. But you have to clearly mention at what stage of the plant the spray has to be carried out. Control in each experiment has to be RDF with only the water spray. Instead of the biostimulant spray, you have to use only the water spray, or water drenching in case of the liquid formulations. Yield data needs to be presented in kilogram per hectare, tons per hectare, or quintal per hectare, whatever it is. Same units need to be used at all the 3 locations. Replications should be at least 4. Data has to be statistically analyzed, and CD values have to be presented in the tables. Minimum plot size desirable is about 25 square meter, which most of the stakeholders have already done. Like, this is the plot size many of the people have used. BC ratio should be calculated and reported. These are the things which helps us to analyze the application, to see whether the product which you are testing is working at all the 3 locations or not. Because if you're selling the product pan-India, it has to work in all the type of soil conditions. So 3 locations will not cover all the type of soil locations, but at least it gives an idea. It can work under different type of soils in different type of pH. Now, typically the yield data which is to be presented should have the following treatments. Biostimulant dose 1 plus RDF, biostimulant dose 2 plus RDF, dose 3 plus RDF, and RDF is your control, and then you have to give the SEM and the CD values. A table in this form with no additional burden on the trials. Sometimes I have seen 9 or 10 different treatments on the basis of which the CD value has been calculated, but it does not give a very clear picture whether the CD is significant just because of your treatment or the additional treatment which you have taken up. So try to keep the number of treatments minimum, but keep the number of if you're keeping this as the format, you have to keep replications minimum 4 so as to have the degree of freedom where the statistical analysis can be carried out. So this is very, very important how the bioefficacy trials have to be carried out. The guidelines which I have just given, if you are following those guidelines, I think nothing will go wrong. So this is, I think in brief, what I wanted to share. This is the toxicity part, which for 4 categories, waiver has already been given for seaweed extracts, for vitamins, humic acids, fulvic acid, and protein hydrolysate. Among the seaweed, right now, only 4 seaweeds have been listed for the waiver, but I have been trying for other seaweeds also, like laminaria, aclonia. These type of seaweeds are also, they do not have any toxicity, but they are also used in food and feeds. So we are trying to put these type of seaweeds also for waiver. Now, for many other categories, rest of the 5 categories, these are the 9 tests which have to be carried out for toxicity, and again from a GLP or a NABL accredited lab. So this is, in brief, I just wanted to share certain things. So thank you very much for your patience hearing, and I hope certain points which I have given might help you in putting up right type of application which can be recommended easily. So thank you very much.
So almost good afternoon. We, as Samir sir rightly said, this is a knowledge sharing platform. मराठीमध्ये त्याला ज्ञानयज्ञ असं म्हणूया. So we are definitely getting lot of inputs and insights from our honorable scientists, our honorable guests. So on behalf of our association, we thank them all. And while concluding, she told me that we have hardly 1 or 2 minutes. So I prepared many points which may take another half an hour, but within 2 minutes I have to conclude this. So this is what Dr. Kaushik Banerji very clearly given some inputs to we people that our products should be pesticide free, and this is what he emphasized, that our biostimulants are very much essential for increasing this plant health, abiotic stress management, immunity building, and so on. So thereafter, our Maharashtrian Marathi scientist, Dr. Harihar Kausadikar, he emphasized the very valuable 5 factors in which soil health, he emphasized, then need of water, then climate, and the nutrition aspect, which is the most important area of his interest, how it is important in the biostimulant industry in general, in particular, and a whole agro-input industry in general. Thereafter, Dr. P.K. Chakraborty, who emphasized the role, who actually played a very important role in designing the norms and procedures for registering our biostimulants. He has a great contribution for our industry. Thereafter, Dr. Saxena, very important presentation we people came through today, and lot many questions are there in our mind which have been answered by him. What to do and what not to do. Do's and don'ts are being very clearly guided to all of our members. And on behalf of our association, we really thank you all for guiding we people. And I hope during the course of time for the day, even during the day, we will get lot many unanswered questions from them. So I finish my closing remark. Thank you.